It's time to start Enchanted Winter. Are you ready? Hi everyone, Cristin Som here with Cristin Creates, and we are ready to get started with our Enchanted Winter quilt. Oh boy, so I have to tell you, I'm a little nervous. It's funny, I have done like 560 tutorial videos on Kimberbell projects, and yet we took the summer off, and I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of funny. So we'll just get back into this and it'll all become like from before. I'm excited and a little nervous, and you probably are too. I know there's a lot of newbies doing this for their first time, and I'm so excited to have you join us. So let's see if I remember everything. Hopefully I remember everything that I need to talk to you about. So number one is subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to Cristin Creates on YouTube. It helps the channel, but it also tells you when videos are posted so that you're not messaging me. That would be wonderful. So one day last week I had 82 messages in one day, 82 messages, and that's not counting all the posts that I was tagged in. I was feeling a little overwhelmed. So we're going to try and do this as simply as possible and in a comfortable pace, hopefully. That's the plan. But I was noticing that there are 25 blocks in this project. So this is the Kimberbell Enchanted Winter quilt that we're starting. Super exciting. It's so pretty. Don't you love this? It's going to be so fun. So there are 25 blocks. There's 9 filler blocks for a total of 34 blocks. And then there's also the inner borders, outer borders, backing, binding, embellishments, all of the things. So it's going to be a lot, and it's already almost mid-October. So the plan is to get this on our wall in January and also somehow take a little time off during Christmas to be with our family. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to stress about it. That's the thing, is if you want to go at lightning pace, you go right ahead. If I'm going too fast for you, slow down. The videos will be there for you. Let's just make this fun. That's the key thing, is to make it a fun project. All right, so Kimberbell Enchanted Winter. Make sure you've got your stabilizer, your fabric, all of the supplies that I mentioned in the prep video and the announcement video and the unboxing present day video. All right, and if you didn't watch the prep video, I highly recommend it. I often get people saying, oh, I cut this way or that way or whatever, and I go over every single fabric, every single cut, every single information in the prep video. So make sure to watch that if you haven't already. And hopefully that means that you've got your packets all ready and filled up and ready for fun, and we can get started. All right, so I don't do the blocks in order of the book. I never do. And you're welcome to do it your way, but I'm going to do it differently. Those of you that have been with me for a long time now, you know I like to do it by section, because then you get this feeling of accomplishment, like, oh, look at it's really coming together, versus having various blocks here and there, right? So this way I'm going to work by section, which does make it a little bit of a challenge in that I think if you look through the book, I think Kimberbell puts their blocks in order, like from the beginning is easier blocks, and as you continue on it gets a little harder, and we're not doing it that way. So we could very well be doing some pretty hard ones in the beginning. So this very first one, it's funny, when I initially set out how I was gonna do them, I had pretty much the hardest one as our first block, and I'm like, oh, that's probably not a good idea. So I did change it around, so don't worry. We're going to start actually with what I consider to be the easiest one. I don't know by Kimberbell's standard, but I think it'll be the easiest one. But I'm also going to group. So I often group. I'll do more than one block in a hoop. And for those of you that are new, I'll always give you the option of doing it your own separate way. Like, we're going to do 2 blocks today, and you can do them separately. No problem. You can do one now, you can do one later. We only need one now, so you can do the other one quite a bit later. So your quilt your way, your project your way, your timeline. So don't stress over this. Let's just make it fun. Excuse my computer beeping. That's what happens all the time. So we'll talk about that too. So let's see. So subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Click that little bell. It gives you notifications so that when a new video is posted, you're not sending me a message going, well, I missed it. How come I don't know about your videos? You need to subscribe. All right. Subscribe to Cristin Creates on YouTube. All right, the other thing is prep. I did mention that. I prepped all of mine. You have the option, you can prep. So I like to be able to grab a packet and go, let's do this. And you don't have to. You can. I'm going to tell you the sizes needed and everything. So you really don't need to do it beforehand. But it's nice to be able to just grab a packet and be ready for the day. So whatever works for you. And there is that whole prep video to be able to give you all that information. All right, I've got my little notes here because we haven't done this all summer. I like hiked so much all summer. So I'm like loopy on how did we do this. So just bear with me. So the blocks order I mentioned, I'm going to do it in a completely different way. Don't ask me for the way from the start so that you've got them all. I'm not going to do that. There's always those people that like to be the first one done. Go for it. We're not doing it that way. We're going to do it at a very comfortable pace. But again, your quilt, your way. You can do it at whatever pace works for you. All right, and I mentioned that there's 25 blocks, 9 filler blocks, total of 34. So it's not a small or simple, fast quilt. We will spend some time on this. All right, so just be prepared for that. And like I mentioned, I am going to group blocks together. You'll always have the option of not doing that, but I will show you how. So I will use Embrilliance Essentials software, Essentials. Don't ask me which Embrilliance product, it's Embrilliance Essentials, all right? I get a lot of that. Embrilliance Essentials is the one that I teach on every single video. I will show you, we're going to add the quilting in, we're going to do 2-in-1 hooping. Of course, all of that depends on your hoop size and your availability and what you want to do. So, but Embrilliance Essentials is the one that I use. I will add a link here to be able to purchase Embrilliance Essentials. It will take you to Embrilliance, and then over on the left hand side there's a list of the products. You just click on Essentials, and that's the one, and it's currently on sale. So I mentioned that in the prep video. I mentioned it in our shirt video. I finished my shirt. I can't wait to see you guys with your shirts. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. So people always ask me what about my shirts, the embroidery, all of that. I always add that at the very end of every video. All right, so I'll show you my shirt. I'll show you a link of where I got it and all of that. And this one was a specific tutorial, and I'm really excited to see everyone wearing their shirts. So make sure to share a photo in our Cristin Creates group on Facebook. All right, so Embrilliance Essentials, it's on sale right now. I highly recommend it. It's so user-friendly. Like, even if you don't know how to do something, you can be like, oh, I betcha it will do this, and it does. So it's just like, if your mind works that way, my mind works that way. My mind works like a computer. Like, if you give me a smartphone and ask me to do something, I'm like, I don't know how. But computers, I got down. So I will teach you how to use Embrilliance Essentials step by step. In fact, if you watched the shirt video where we made the shirt, that one was super Embrilliance Essentials focused and step by step on how to do lots of things so you can get really comfortable with Embrilliance Essentials. And it is not required. You do not need a software program to do these blocks. If you have a fancy machine that you can add in the quilting, you could do that, or you can do the quilting first and then do the block. It doesn't matter, whatever works for you. It's not required, but I use it a lot, so I will show you how to do it. All right, hoop size. So this one that we're going to start with, we don't need a big hoop, but some of them we will. And I have a lot of videos. If you go to Cristin Creates on YouTube and click on the playlist tab, there's a playlist just for information on 5x7 or 6x10 or the smaller hoops. All right. So, and I show you, and I'll talk about it too once we get to a block that is a little bit smaller than what I will need for what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to do an entire tutorial just on the smaller hoops because I've done it so many times. So you can find that on my channel. And this project is 6x10. You need a 6x10 hoop on pretty much the whole project, I believe. Yes, hoop 6x10 or larger. It says right on the book. All right. So I will show you how to do that. But like I said, some of them, to be able to add the quilting in, you're going to want a bigger hoop. And so I'll talk about that when we get there, but just know that there is also an entire lots of tutorials on using a smaller hoop as far as like taking out steps 3 and 4 of the quilting. We'll go over that in further detail, but you've probably heard me say that it's a nice to have, but it's not required, and it makes it so that it will fit in your hoop. If your smallest hoop is like a 6 by 10 and your project is 6 by 10 and the quilting makes it 6.5 by 10.5, then there's workarounds. All right, so that's, I don't want to confuse you just yet. Maybe I'll save that for a little bit later. All right, so hoop size, and then the only other thing before we get started on our block today is I want you to choose a goal. I always tell on every project we need a goal. I like to always work toward being my best self, and other people enjoy that too. So a lot of us, we create a goal, and it can be whatever works for you. It can be a lot of people choose to make a goal of staying up with me on a project, and that's a great goal, you know, whatever works for you. But again, as long as it doesn't stress you out. So it can be that. It can be cleaning out your craft room. It can be working on old projects. It can be exercise. It can be eating healthy. It can be getting your water, getting enough sleep, being around healthy, good people that bring out the best in you. Whatever it is, create a goal. It's for the entire length of this project. And then in the comments on YouTube, preferably on YouTube, not on Facebook, on YouTube, put your comment in there. It helps the channel to get comments on the videos, and then I can refer back and see what your goal is. I like to be able to, it's a way to help hold everyone accountable, right? I like to be held accountable. If my goal is whatever, I want to be able to tell you I did this, right? I worked toward my goal. That's being accountable for our actions. So create a goal, whatever it is. Share in the comments on this YouTube video and tell me what your goal is and what your action plan is going to be toward it. All right, so let's start talking about what we're going to do today. Are you nervous? Oh. All right, so today we are going to work on the very simple snowflake blocks. All right, they are on page 14 and 15. I have them in 2 separate packets, but they're little, so I'm going to go ahead and do them in one hooping. Again, you can do this separately, absolutely, or you can join them together. It's totally up to you. One of them is for section 1, and then one of them is for section, I don't think I wrote the sections on here. No, I think I did. One of them's for section 1 and one of them's for section 2. Let's see if we're right. So I have page numbers 14 and 15, section 1 and section 2. Good, I did write that. All right, so I showed on my prep video that I write the page number that the block is on, which you don't need that because you probably won't need your book because I'm going to go over everything, but I use that. And then I write the name of the block, and then I wrote what section or what section it's in. All right, so section 1 is snowflake 2. So if you only do 1 today, that's totally fine, but do the snowflake 2. All right, and you can see it's on page 15, snowflake 2. That's the one that we need to have for section 1. This other one we don't need yet. You can do it later if you choose, or you can join them together. Whatever works. It's kind of fun. I like to do that because then in the beginning, it's kind of a slow process because you're kind of doing extra, but then toward the end, you're like, oh, I already did that. I've got this already ready, and I can just put this whole section together because I've already done some of these. So that makes it fun for me to really see it coming together. Just don't lose your blocks. I've heard people lose their blocks before, so I'll give you a hint. So I made a block for like section 1 filler blocks, section 2 filler blocks, and section 3 filler blocks. So any extra blocks that you have, if you tend to lose things, you could put them in that packet. Just a thought, whatever works for you. All right, so for now, we're going to work on the snowflake blocks. See, told you, nervous. All right, so on page, let's see. Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk about snowflake 1, which is the one that we don't need yet. It's for section 2, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about that one first. Snowflake 1 and then snowflake 2. All right, and we'll just talk about the products that we need, how we're going to do it, and then afterward, I'm going to bring you over to the computer and I'm going to show you how to join them together if you choose. All right, so snowflake 1 is on page 14. It's a nice, you can always tell a nice simple day by how full the packet is. All right, if it's a really big packet, then you know it's going to have lots of little applique pieces and whatever. This one's super easy. That's why I thought let's just do 2, so get it done, be easy. All right, so this is a directional fabric. I talked about that in the prep video, and one thing that I noticed on the prep video is, or not on the prep video, but in the book, is that it shows this fabric, but in the cut guide where it shows you how to lay it down so that you get the right direction, you can't see the direction. It's like such a navy blue dark fabric that you really can't see the lines anyway. So the nice thing about this is that it is we're going to cut our fabric to 6.5 by 6.5, and so for now it doesn't matter. You're not going to cut it wrong. It's going to be how you lay it down in your hoop to be able to get the direction. Okay, so if you look on the picture, you can see that the arrows are going down in the photo of this snowflake 1. So that means that we want the direction going this way when we lay it down in our hoop. All right, so 6.5 by 6.5 for our main fabric, and make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. I mentioned that in the tutorial, the prep tutorial. I cut mine, you can do it either way. You can cut the block to 6.5 and cut the fabric to 6.5, put them together and cut them together at the same time. That saves time. Or you can cut your stabilizer a 1/2 inch smaller. So I cut my block to 6.5 by 6.5, and I cut my stabilizer to 6 by 6, just because this is the only reason really why. If it's like a white fabric or a light one or a cream one, it's really hard to tell the front from the back. So if you cut your stabilizer in a little bit, it makes it really easy. You're like, oh, I know the front from the back, super easy. So that's why I do it. Again, totally optional. 6.5 by 6.5 for your main fabric. And that's the only fabric we have for this. There is a rhinestone that we will add later after the quilt is done. So there are people that like to put their embellishments on before the quilt is done, and that is your quilt, your way. You get to do that. It's up to you. But the only thing I want to note is to keep in mind that when we are doing our stitch in the ditch and our binding, when our quilt is upside down, or you're stitching in between the blocks, whatever, you don't want that rhinestone hitting your machine. All right, any of the embellishments, any of the things that could pull, whatever. So you choose. I'm leaving most of the embellishments to the end after we're all done, like the last step. So like I said, there will be a rhinestone on this, and you actually have the option of not using the rhinestone. There is stitching if you choose to do stitching instead of the rhinestone. I like rhinestones, can you tell? So I'll be adding the rhinestone. Okay, so we do need batting. Every time we quilt a block, we need our batting. That's what gives it that quilted look. And our batting today is going to be 5 by 5. All right, 5 by 5 for our quilting on our 6.5 by 6.5 fabric. All right, and like I said, I'm going to go over all of it step by step. Once we get to the machine, I'll take all the photos and tell you where we are and all that. But those are the 2 simple items that we need for snowflake 1. All right, this is for section 2, snowflake 1, and we are going to quilt this. Don't forget, it is directional fabric, and I'll point that out once we get there as well. So let's see, our quilting design today is Geometric 13. Did you buy the quilting bundle, the Enchanted Winter Quilting Bundle? I don't know if it's still on sale, but it was on sale when I told you to buy it. So hopefully you got it, but that's optional as well. So you could choose to buy one quilting design and use that for your entire project, or you can slowly add to your quilting library. I actually have a pretty good supply now. I've been doing this for several years, and so it's really fun to be able to go, oh, this one would look good, I used this for this and that, whatever. So it's a good way to add to your quilting library. So this quilting bundle, like I said, it's Enchanted Winter Quilting Bundle, and it is purchased, all of those are from the Kimberbell website directly, and there's a link link underneath this video to be able to purchase it. Like if you click on our sponsors affiliate link, it brings you to Kimberbell, and then you just add it to your cart, and that gives a little kickback to our sponsor as well. Don't forget, our sponsor is Daylily Fabric Shop on this project. So everybody that's doing this with me should have purchased your supplies from our sponsor, Daylily Fabric Shop. That really helps our sponsors to see that, because they're working so hard. Oh my gosh, they ran out of supplies and then reordered some and had to cut in between, and they're jumping through all kinds of hoops for us. So always support our sponsors. So the sponsor for this specific project is Daylily Fabric Shop. And actually, I'll add a link here if there's anything else that you need from Daylily Fabric Shop. Don't forget, our coupon code is Enchanted Cristin 2025, no spaces, all in caps. Daylily Fabric Shop, and all the stabilizers and batting, everything works in that coupon code too. So make sure to order from them whenever you need anything for this project. All right, so that is Snowflake 1. Super simple. I told you the directional fabric and the geometric 13. Did I mention the size we're going to use for our quilting is 4x4? All right, 4x4 for the quilting design, geometric 13. It's in the quilting bundle for Enchanted Winter. All right, that is the first one. And you can just do, was it this one? No, not that one. If you're only doing one block, don't do that one. Do the next one, Snowflake 2. All right. So this one is what we need for today for our section 1. All right, so it's on page 15, Snowflake number 2, and it's the same supplies, same information, even the same quilting design. I was like, oh, that's nice, because when we group it together, it makes it easier. All right, so make that not fall. All right, so real quick, same as last one, we're going to have our directional fabric. It's this fabric here. It's fabric number 3, if that helps you. Fabric number 3, and it is directional. Let's see if on this one it's the same. Boy, it's hard to see with this navy blue. I think I'll look closer and be sure, and if it's not, I'll point it out. But it looks like the arrows are going down just like on the other block. So that means that your arrows would look like this. All right, 6.5 by 6.5 for your main fabric. Make sure to back it with fusible stabilizer so you don't get any puckering. And then our batting, 5 by 5. 5 by 5 for your batting. And then quilting design, same thing. Geometric 13 for this one, and it is going to be 4 by 4. Geometric 13 and a 4 by 4. Horizontal, by the way. I didn't mention that before. So this one comes in vertical or horizontal. We're going to use the horizontal design for the quilting. All right, and that's it. Rhinestones will be added later. If you don't have your pop rulers, those are super helpful for cutting. I highly recommend them, and I'll show that at the end as well. So 2 blocks today, if you choose. I'm going to join them together on one hooping. That saves on stabilizer, saves on time, especially something as simple as this. We're going to just jam along today. All right, are you excited? I'm going to bring you over to the computer and show you how we're going to join those together. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now. Hopefully you can hear me with my microphone. I'm going to show you how to merge the 2 blocks together in Embrilliance Essentials if you choose. So I'm going to open up Embrilliance Essentials. Don't forget, if you purchase it, to please use my affiliate link. I'm pointing to a link up there. It gives a little kickback to Cristin Creates to help with our tutorials when you purchase using that link, and it will work on any Embrilliance product. So if you're buying Thumbnailer or Enthusiast or Stitch Artist, any of those programs, the only one I'm teaching though is Embrilliance Essentials. Okay, so I've opened up Embrilliance Essentials. I showed it on the shirt video a lot, by the way. So if you are new to Embrilliance Essentials, I highly recommend checking out that video, because there was a lot on there on different things you can do. So I'm going to shrink it down so that my head is not in the way, and just resize it a little bit here. So in the lower right hand corner, while I'm resizing here, so it'll always tell you what hoop size you're on. I'm currently on my 9.5 by 9.5 hoop, and we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and change it. So the background quilting on this is 4.5 by 4.5. So we need at least 10 inches. And 10 inches might be a little tight because you're going to have your fabrics overlapping. So it could be done 4.5 by 4.5, 9, 10. It would be super close. So I'm actually going to go to my 8 by 12 hoop, and just mainly so that I have room for my fabrics, because those two big fabrics, so the block itself, when we finally cut it, when we finalize it, it will be probably 4.5. Let's see. Yep, 4.5 by 4.5. But our fabric starts at 6.5 by 6.5. So 2 inches larger on each one, which means that our fabrics are going to be really close together and probably have a little overlap to them. So I'm going to use my 8 by 12 hoop. Like I said, it probably can be done on a 6 by 10. And like I mentioned earlier, even if your biggest hoop is a 6 by 10 and you have this quilting, so the quilting is 4.5 by 4.5, two of them, so 10, so it would be what, 4.5, so 9, 10, it would be 10 total. So it should fit, depending on like the brand. So Brother, sometimes the hoops are a little bit smaller, like the 8 by 8 is not actually an 8 by 8 hoop. So it should work. If it doesn't, the easy way to make it a little bit smaller is to take out steps 3 and 4 of the quilting design. That's what makes it larger. That makes it the 1/2 inch extra larger. All right, and I mentioned that on lots of videos for the smaller hoop. There's lots of them on my YouTube channel. All right, so I'm going to change my hoop size. Like I said, right down here at the bottom, it says your hoop size. So I'm going to go up to this preferences folder, and I'm going to choose my 8 by 12 hoop and say okay. And then I'm going to go up to this little compass here, and I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to click on H for hoop, and it zooms into the hoop to the right size for me. All right, and down here you can see 8 by 12, and see it's not even really fully 12. So that's why I was saying the 6 by 10, it may not be a full 10 inches. All right, so we're going to start by bringing in the quilting. We're going to use the same quilting design on both files, which makes it quite a bit easier. We can join the colors together and so forth. So I'm going to start by, you can do it two ways. You can go to this Merge Stitch File button and navigate to your folder that you have your design in. That's a nice easy way. Or another way is, if you've already got your folder handy that has your files in it, you can go ahead and click on that design. So we're looking for the Geometric 13 right there, Geometric 13, embroidery files, Pez. I deleted all the other formats because I only use Pez, so that's why, but you'll get all the formats when you purchase from Kimberbell. All right, and we want the 4.5 by 4.5. It's 4 by 4 in horizontal. All right, so 4 by 4 geometric horizontal right there. So I'm just gonna click on it and I'm gonna drag it over, and that's like super easy. So like I said, you can do what was it to bring it over. I've already forgotten. Right here to the stitch file, merge stitch file. You can go to that and navigate to the folder, or you can have your folder open and just drag it over. Either way works just fine. All right, so here's our first one. It goes to the center. I'm going to go ahead and move it up so that I can bring in a second one. Before I do that, though, I'm just going to copy and paste since it's the same file. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make the changes so that when I copy and paste, it's already ready. So you can see we have this default one, blue and orange, and we've got it twice. So if we left it like that, those are going to join together. That blue and the orange will join together, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to separate the colors really quick so that we can do a color sort later. I'm glad this is all coming back to me. Hopefully it is for you too. All right, so you can leave one of them, the blue and the orange. I'm going to go ahead and just change the second one. So I'm going to click on 1-3 here in the objects window, and then down in this properties window, I'm going to click on the color that's showing here. All right, and I'm going to, it's on Quiltech Glide, that's nice. And color doesn't matter, you just want something other than that default one blue so that it won't join together. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to Oriental blue is the first one that comes up. So I'm going to choose that, and then click on 1-4, same thing, click on the color down in the properties window, and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up, and for me that's pumpkin from Quiltech Glide. All right, and then this, we don't need to change that because we can have them do it together. So I'm going to leave that. So that's all I did is I changed 2 of the colors so that when we do a color sort later, and sometimes you got to worry about that blue and orange. Like if there's an applique later, then we would have to change that as well. But I don't think we'll need to. We'll see. All right, so this is good. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this. So I'm going to click on the design. You can do it over here, or you can do it over here by clicking. The easiest way I found is to click down and drag up, or to click on this top number 1 here. All right, either one, however you want to do it. Now you're going to hit Control C like Cristin, or copy, and it will copy it. And then we're going to hit Control V on our keyboard, V like victory. Control V, and it pastes a second one, and you can't see it because it's right on top of it, but you can see in this objects window that there's 2 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the down key on my keyboard to move it down, and I'm going to bring it all the way down just so that I've got a lot of room for that fabric. All right, because remember there's that 2 inches of fabric. All right, and then this first one I'll bring up just a tad. All right, so the key though is you want to make sure that it's not going over the hoop, and you can't always totally see it. It'll look like it's okay, and then you'll get it to your machine, and your machine will be changed to a bigger hoop, and that's because you're over the hoop. This yellow part is the designated hoop. All right, so you can zoom out or zoom in using your the mouse, the little scroll on your mouse, to be able to see and make sure that you're not over it at all. All right, that one is kind of close. I think I'll just come down a bit just in case. All right, so that's good. So now the thing is, we're going to bring in our embroidery design, that snowflake. There's 2 of them. I want to make sure that you notice that the snowflake on snowflake 1 and the snowflake on snowflake 2 are different. So make sure to bring both of those in. So what we could do, I'm going to go ahead and do a color sort now, because really this is the part that I want to join together. The next part, I don't care. It's probably just one color, 1 stitch out. I'm not going to worry about that, and I don't want them to join. So I want these to join because they're the same, and it will make it so that it does it all at once. So I'm not pulling the hoop off to cut my batting on the first one and then pull it out to cut it on the second one. I'm going to do those all together. All right, so I hope that makes sense. So we've got all of our colors here. The quilting design is the same. So let me make sure horizontal on both. Horizontal on the second one, horizontal on the first one. So we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Utility, Color Sort. And it thinks. Oh, look at my tolerance is at 2. So I don't know. It's probably okay, but it's better if you have your tolerance at 0. All right. I re-downloaded Embrilliance Essentials, and that's why it has different things. So the other thing is, if I recall, we don't want any of these checked, right? Yeah. If I recall, we don't have those checked. So tolerance at 0 and none of these checked, okay? And then I'm gonna click New View. I wonder if it changes from there, hopefully. All right, so what it did, so here's, if you look at your tabs up here, here's our first one with those 2 designs, the 2 quilting designs. And then here is the second one, and they're joined together, and it's all in one design now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on these and look through and make sure that it did what I want it to do, especially since my settings are different than they used to be. All right, so I'm going to click on this first one, and you can easily see that that is the placement stitch for the batting on both of them, and they're joined together, so that's perfect. And then the second one is the tack down for the batting, joined together, and the third step is the placement for the main fabric, joined together, and then the fourth one is the tack down for that main fabric, and then the quilting design on both of them. So that worked out exactly how I wanted it to. I want to show you one thing real quick here. I'm going to go back to that first tab, and for those that haven't been doing this with me, I just want to show you real quick. So all of these, look down here, so 4x4, 4x4, and then this steps 3 and 4. This is what I was talking about. If you have a smaller hoop, like a 6x10, and you have a quilting design that is 6.5 by 10.5, that's not the issue at this point, but I just want to point it out. that, see how it jumps to 4.5 because it's going a 1/4 inch wider on each side, and that's the part that makes it bigger. And it is the placement and the tack down of the main fabric, which you could tape it in place. So you don't have to have that. It's definitely a nice to have. I like it. It helps with puckering and all that. But if it's going to make it so that you can't do this project because it's not going to fit in your hoop, then delete steps 3 and 4. All right, so I just wanted to show that real quick. All right, so we're on tab 2 now, which is the one design of both the quilting files. All right, so now we're going to bring in our snowflakes. So I'm going to go back to my folder. You can go to the merge stitch button or to your folder, whatever works. And I'm going to go, let's see, I'm going to find my, that's my quilting bundle. Here's my designs, embroidery files, Pez. And we're looking for the Snowflake 1 and Snowflake 2 right there. Snowflake 1 and Snowflake 2. So I'm going to bring one in at a time. All right, and one thing I forgot to mention is since we joined it together before, I think, yeah, it's fine. We could have left it in the center so that it automatically centers, but I think we can just eyeball it. Let's see. Oh, it's raining. All right, so... Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've done it in past videos, but it is a little different. So the goal here is to get this centered within the block, and we can't really do an align and distribute because they're grouped together. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to bring it on the other tab. I'm going to say Control C, and I'm going to bring it on this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to center it here and then grab them over. So on the second one, I'm going to delete this. So just the snowflake. So we've got our quilting design that after it created that second tab after we brought over our quilting and we merged them together. We grouped everything. So now I've got on that first tab, I've got my snowflake, and I'm going to bring the other one in. We'll do it all together. Let's see. Well, I'll do it separate just to try and ease you into this a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on design 1, which is the quilting design for the first block. And then I'm going to click my control button on my keyboard while I click on the design number 3, that snowflake. See, it gets it so that you have both of them when you hit that control button. All right, and I'm going to go to Utility, Align, and Distribute. And let's see, if I say center, center, I'm going to do center, center so that it aligns that snowflake within this quilting design, and we'll see how much it moves. Say apply, and it moved over to the right just a little bit. And now we know it's exactly in the center of that block. So that's a good thing. And I'll show you how to bring it over to the next one. Don't worry. Okay, so there's that first one. That's good. Now we need to bring in that second snowflake, snowflake 2. Bring it over, it will go to the center. I'm going to just close this so it's out of our way. All right, so there's our snowflake 2. I'm going to just haphazardly, watch, we can do it. Well, I don't want to do it too wild. If you do it too wild, like if you did it over here, it will move this lower block a little bit too. So I'm just going to do it kind of haphazardly, not too bad, just so that you can see it move. All right, so now we are going to click on design number 2, which is that quilting design. Hold that control button on our keyboard and hit design number 4, which is that snowflake. All right, and I want to be able to have design 2 and design 4, you can see, so that we can group those together. Not really group them, but we're going to align and distribute them. So I'm going to click Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to click Center, Center. And when I hit apply, watch how this snowflake moves. All right, it moved up to the right, over, so that now it's aligned perfectly in those 2 blocks. But we want to use that other tab, that second tab that has our quilting designs already joined together to do a color sort. So here's the easy way to do this. So click outside so nothing's selected, then click on number 3, and then click the control button and click on number 4. All right, we've got that. I'm going to say Control C to copy. I'm going to go over to tab 2 and I'm going to hit Control V, and watch, it goes right exactly where those blocks are. Okay, right, it's centered perfectly within those 2 blocks. We don't have to sit there and eyeball it or try and get it just right. It does it for us. All right, because we already aligned and distributed it on the other one, and these blocks are lined up the same way. So perfect, done, super easy. So let's see, this is the same color, linen and linen. We're going to do them both in white. If you want them a different color, like if you want one of your snowflakes to be gray and one of them to be white, or one of them to be white, one of them to be blue, I'm going to do them in the colors that it says, and I'll show you all of that as we get there. But if you wanted to do it differently, you would need to change the color now, because it will automatically keep going once we bring it over to Embrilliance. So to do that, you would just click on the snowflake that you want, click on the color, and change the color so that it's different than this one that's here. All right, so it looks like there's 2 steps. So one of the snowflakes has 2 steps. Oh, interesting. It's got these little dots on the outside. That's pretty. And then this one just has 1. So the one thing that's interesting is it said, if you plan to attach rhinestones to the block, skip machine step 2. And that's on section 1. So that's on this one. So that one is saying, if you're not going to do the rhinestones, which I am, so then you would skip that step, and it is a separate color. So actually that's going to make it so that it won't automatically join. So I was thinking, since they're both linen, it's going to jump right into the next one, but it won't because of that cool gray 3. So it's up to you. I'm going to leave it so that I remember to tell everyone, if you're choosing to not use the rhinestones, then you would stitch this out. But if you know that you want to do the rhinestones, you can delete that now. Totally up to you. I'm going to leave it, but up to you. So I'm going to say File, Save Stitch File As. Always do as. I try to always remember to tell you to do as, so that it creates an additional file. If you saved it as, if you didn't do an as and you just said save, it's going to save over the first thing that you brought in, which was that quilting design. So you definitely don't want to do that. You want to always do a save as. All right, then it's creating a separate file. So I'm going to navigate to where I have my design. All right, I have mine saved as computer files at Missa's. Missa is my daughter, and I like to save my files here so that if I go out of town, I have everything that I need, because I've had where I'm like, oh no, I need this or that. So I save it in a Dropbox folder that I can get anywhere. All right, so I'm saving it in my original folder so that if I do this quilt again someday, I have it. So I'm going to say 4x4 snowflakes 1 and 2. Name it whatever will help you to find it easily. And we're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and send this to my machine. If you don't have a wireless machine, you would just save it to a USB stick, or save it to your computer and copy it to a USB stick and bring that over to your machine. Whatever works. My machine does Wi-Fi, so I can send it there. I've been getting this error message lately. My machine's not being very nice, so that's all right. I'll figure it out and save it to a USB stick. And if you don't know how to save to a USB stick, I have a tutorial just on that, a quick little easy tutorial for saving to a USB stick if you need it. All right, we're ready to get stitching. Are you excited? Our first blocks of our Enchanted Winter quilt. everyone, now that we have completed our blocks, it's time to cut them. I'm going to use my orange pop rollers. If you haven't tried these before, I highly recommend them. I think they're pretty amazing. So I'm going to show you how using this you can do whatever works for you. So I showed earlier that I take out the basting stitch, and I like to do that because when I use my orange pop rollers, I cut from the back, and I find that that makes it easier to be able to easily see the 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I cut away the excess stabilizer, I take away the basting stitches, and then I can easily center it using my 1/4 inch seam allowance with the backing. So we can see on the back very easily, it shows the batting so that we can see our 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to just put this on my rotating cutting mat, and I am going to use my orange pop roller. I'm using the 4x4 size, and I'm just going to move it around until I can visually center the 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can also keep in your basting stitches if you prefer, but I find it easier to take them out because then I can see from the cutting away the stabilizer, the mesh stabilizer. So I like to do it this way. You do what works for you, but this is the way that works for me really well, to be able to see everything very well. I get it all centered, and then I'm ready to cut. All right. So once you're ready, then I am going to use my my cutter here, and I'm just going to hold this down. I'm going to go into the little seams down here with my cutter, and I'm going to cut one side, and then I'm going to spin it, and I'm going to cut the next one, going down into that groove and pushing against the side of the pop roller. All right, so I'm down in the groove and I'm pushing toward that pop roller as I'm cutting my sides here. All right, and then once it's all done, you can take it away and see that it's perfectly cut and it's perfectly centered. That's how I do mine. All right, so you'll always see throughout this video, I'm always going to say, or I'll show a photo that I turn it upside down so that I can cut from the back. That's my little personal technique that works really well for me to be able to center a 1/4 inch seam allowance on each side, because the basting stitch has been removed and the excess stabilizer has been removed, so that I can easily see to be able to cut my block. All right. And the rotating cutting mat makes it wonderfully easy, and the pop rollers, I think they're amazing. I bought them as soon as I started quilting and have used them ever since, and I just think they're great. So that's the technique that I use. Looks like I need a new cut, what is it called, the little blade thing. So anyway, this is just the technique that I use to be able to get it centered just right, to be able to have your blocks all finished for completion, so that when we put it all together, we're all ready. All right. All right, let's talk about my shirt. So did you get to watch the video for this shirt? I went through step by step how to make lots of changes. It was a big stretch exercise to make this one. So it said Winter Wonderland originally. I changed it to say Enchanted Winter and added extra snowflakes and lots of bling, and it's just so fun. I was so excited once this was done. So this one was a fun stretch. It was really hard. I'm really excited to see everybody, all my twinsies out there. I'm super excited because I did recommend the sweater. The sweater is from Amazon. I'll add a link here to my Amazon storefront, and I have sweaters in there that I recommend for embroidery specifically. All the ones that are in there I have purchased and have embroidered on, and they've worked really well. The sizing is really accurate and all of that. So you can always find a good item in my Amazon storefront. So this one, super fun. I love how it came out. The design was from Etsy, and like I said, we totally changed it up, and I'm super excited to see everyone with their shirts all embroidered, because I know it was a big stretch. So I'm super excited to see who did it. And you always have the option of leaving it as Winter Wonderland. That's perfectly fine as well. Maybe add a little bling, make it your own, however you want to. But fun shirt. I really, really love this one. It's so pretty with all the extra bling. All right, at the end of every video, I'm going to talk about our goal. So whatever your goal is, I want to hear. Make sure to leave a comment and tell me what your goal is and what you're doing towards your goal. I want to hear about it. So mine, I've actually, I have two goals, and one of them is a pretty big stretch for me. And the other one I'm pretty good about doing, but it's harder in winter. So the second part, the easier part for me, I'm going to do my goal is working out, getting workouts. So my goal is 5 days a week, hopefully. And actually, a friend of mine added me to a challenge. So it's funny because during summer, we had the summer off. We took the entire summer off from doing the tutorials, and it was pretty heavenly, I'll tell you. I did a lot of things. A group of us, some breast cancer survivors and I, we all went and hiked Heinemann Peak, which is the 9th highest peak in all of Idaho. And it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Absolutely amazing. It included a retreat where they totally took care of us. We had Sherpas that showed us the way, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And before Heinemann, I was hiking like a crazy person, like hiking so much to be able to get ready for Heinemann, because Heinemann was a really big deal. So I did all of that. And then even before Heinemann ended, I had joined the Boise Trails Challenge, which is another huge thing, like huge. And this was my first year completing it. I mean, that's how huge it is. You have to do 99 different trails, and that they've chosen, and then you have to follow the map, so that you have to like log in so that it tells you, the people, where you are and how you're doing with the challenge and the whole bit. It's like a race, and 99 different trails, and it turned out to be, I don't know, 220 miles or something in 30 days, had to be done within these 30 days, and 36 plus thousand feet of climbing. And I mean, it was intense. It was intense. Every single day I woke up and I'm like, I gotta go hike. I had big challenges this past summer. And then we did Mount Heinemann, which we did the Grand Slam challenge, and the Grand Slam is 4 of these really hard hikes in Idaho. And the first 3 I really enjoyed, actually, like a lot, really enjoyed them. And the last one I would never, ever, 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 ever do again. And I would never, ever, ever recommend anyone doing it. It was more dangerous than I could have imagined. It was horrible. Like, it took over 11 hours. I had injuries, and everybody did, actually, all of us. And we finished and found out that people have died on that mountain. So I would never ever recommend Heinemann ever again. But so I did that. So I had Heinemann Peak, and then I had the Boise Trails Challenge, and then I had the Grand Slam. And so big challenges this summer. I mean, huge amount of mileage. I was working really, really hard, and then just nothing. And now winter is coming, and it's cold out, and it's not hiking weather. And so I'm like a little lost, like, well, I need a challenge. So a friend of mine actually put me in this challenge without even asking me first or anything. He put me in this challenge, and it's, in my opinion, pretty doable. Like, I think the first one was to hike 90 miles in 1 month. I think it was in September. No, it was before that, probably August. I don't know. It was after the Boise Trails Challenge ended. But anyway, so every month now he's been adding me to this challenge. And we went out, my husband and I went out of town the first week of October, and we sat at a conference. Like, we did a little bit of walking, but not very much at all. And so I come back and I'm in this new challenge that I have to do 80 miles in the month of October. And I'm like, okay, but I've got all these tutorials to do, and we were out of town the first week. So I actually won the challenge the 2 or 3 months prior that we were doing the challenge, and now I'm currently in last place. Last place. So I did do 4.5 miles today on my treadmill, and I also did a strength training workout. So I'm getting back into it, but I'll tell you, it's harder. It's when you don't have like a big challenge that you're working toward, it's harder. Like, I'd rather just sit here and play a game or make something pretty on my embroidery machine. I don't feel like getting on the treadmill. It's not pretty outside. I like outside. So it's a good challenge for me to get back into it. So that's my goal. 5 days a week, minimum 5 days a week, to get hiking or bike riding or strength training or all three or whatever. But each day get some exercise and get higher up than last place in this challenge. So I think it'll be okay. So that's my easier challenge, because I like to work out anyway. The harder challenge, a friend of mine recommended that I do this one. So this one, my goal, which is really my bigger goal for this project, is to do less hand holding. So what that means is, when I post my very, very detail-oriented tutorials that have every piece of information, and then somebody doesn't watch it and they ask, well, how do I do this or that? And I'm like, well, it's in the video that I spent 3 days making. And I get frustrated. And so that's my goal, is to not do so much hand holding and to let you guys rely on yourselves to find the information in the videos, because I'm doing my part. I'm giving all the information. So to back off a little bit from being overly helpful, because in all honesty, it's too much for me. I'm super duper overwhelmed. That I think it was 2 days ago, I had 82 messages in one day, and that's not counting the 51 comments and posts and tags and things on Facebook. I mean, it was a lot. It was so much that I was crying to my husband. I was big tears. I can't do it. My heart was so stressed that it hurt. It's not healthy for me. So I'm going to back off from that. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to make these videos and give all the information, and post it for you. And then, like, I had somebody ask me just the other day, I put Embrilliance Essentials and I capitalized Essentials, and on that post she asked, well, which Embrilliance? Like, did you read it? Like, so it's frustrating and overwhelming, and I just don't have the time for it. I really don't have the time for it. I've got 10,000 people. We have 10,000 subscribers, and I'm a one-woman show. Thankfully, I've got my admin team that is phenomenal. I love them. They help with questions when they can, and they do all of the membership. Like, when people request to join, they vet them and check it out, and before they accept them, I don't have to do any of that stuff. So I do have huge help, but I also am hugely overwhelmed. So my goal is to back off and to do my part and to not overdo and get overwhelmed. So that's going to be a big one. And that one's harder to check in and say, hey, I blew off this person. That's not going to happen. And so that's why I added the working out one. So I'm personally going to work on backing off a little bit and making this a more feasible option for me, and to enjoy the process. I want to enjoy it just like you guys do. So that's my goal, but also to work out, and which really helps with stress levels as well. So I want to hear about your goal. Tell me what your goal is. How are you going to do it? What's your action plan? I want to hear all about it.